那他
Samsung.
刚刚为什么开始？
I don't know.
Because yours is not iPhone, yours is Samsung.
Samsung and
一点
Samsung
默
and
契
and
And here we are. This is Mr. Hoge from Taichung Talk. And on my left, we have Mary. And on my right, we have Mego Daga. In the
Hello.
flesh in 4K. So this is a very special episode because we are on video. So if you are interested in watching our video, we have a YouTube channel. And if you are interested in listening to us on the podcast, we have Spotify and we also have Apple. Yes, we have Apple Podcasts.
Bingo.
Yes. So today we have a special show for you. We're going to talk about how to have a proper and healthy relationship in the workplace. So here are some tips. The first tip we have is this is something that everyone, I believe, does one way or another, and it is gossip. So we need to avoid gossip. Don't you agree with me, Mr. Meigo Daga?
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest thing that is in every workplace. Every workplace, there's a lot of gossip. Just not where I work at, but where I specifically work at as a teacher, we have a lot of gossip. That's pretty much what keeps the teachers running these days. They need gossip and coffee, pretty much.
Yeah.
It seems like if something's going on the third floor, it's going to end up going to the first floor, and the first floor ends up going to the next building. Pretty much.
So have you ever, I believe that we've all been a victim of gossiping in one way or another. So has that ever happened to you?
Well, I probably made it a bad mistake, especially with how Taiwanese workplace is not I'm not really used to it. So I made a comment that apparently the food at the school tastes. Yeah. I didn't say taste. Smells like dog food. And
what?
Yeah. Well, I'm not a number one fan to this school's food here, but where I work at, unfortunately, the the aunties are okay with it. They understand the food's not good. But they can't admit it to it. But because the fact that they understand that it doesn't taste good. But I made a comment just out of lunchtime, and somehow in less than an hour or two, we had a teachers meeting, discussing about how some teacher said that the food smells like dog food. And tastes like dog food, and it's just lost in translation because I only said smells like dog food. I'm not saying dog food is bad because we feed Leia, which is my dog, awesome food, and sometimes I feel like she's eating better food than we do.
You're going off on a deep end. You're hey.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So
you're just digging.
There's a rumor that actually the gossip kept going and going to a point where there's a good chance that actually a few weeks later I realized that my director actually wanted to yell at me.
What?
And yeah, so I got saved. Unfortunately, that this debacle kind of boiled down over later on, but simmered down a little bit later on. But I think that gossip is very intrusive. It's actually very damaging to a lot of coworkers and people and stuff. It is a bad thing in a workplace because gossip actually destroys relationships, destroys a reputation, and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be true.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I heard there's one instance. One of my friends, she was telling me that, oh wow, we spread a rumor that someone was gay or lesbian, and next thing you know, it turns out false. We don't know. Yeah, exactly. We don't know if it's gay or lesbian, but in our today's society, we have a stigma on gays and lesbians, in especially in Taiwan, even though Taiwan's leading in LGBTQI plus now. Yeah, in Asia, it's actually the rights and everything, but unfortunately, we still have stigma and stereotypes.
Yeah, that is that's true. The gossip is really, it's damaging to a person's reputation, and like you said, a person's sexual orientation is their own business. It's not anyone else's business.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, totally agree with you. And let's move on to the next point. I think to have a good working relationship, we need to listen to each other, to have a good, communication. Like if your colleague is talking to you, you have to give them your full attention. Yes. And Mary, why is that important to be a good listener? 就是聆听别人，这样是那个多重要？
我觉得是蛮重要，因为我基本上我有当过别人的同事，那我也是同时是主管，然后我又是基本上我就夹在中间。那我的工作经验目前现在是代办的话，基本上就是一个人的操作作业，所以我没有什么叫做下属。那以前我在比较大的集团上班的话，那我们都会有工读生，那工读生就是我们可能会发包给他们去做这样子，那我都要 training 那些工读生去做我们后端的事情，所以我觉得这部分我自己觉得我扮演的角色还蛮不错的，因为我本身就是一个 listener， 但是我同时我也会我比较强势一点，我也会跟他讲说我会听你讲，但同时你也要达到我的要求。对，
Yes.
就是算是软硬兼施的概念。对。
Playing good cop, bad cop.
对。
So, yeah, but on the other hand, what if your coworker could be a little bit too talkative? So what can you do if, he just wants to have a conversation with you and what if it goes on and on and on and you just have to sit there and you have to, yes, okay.
I think that a lot of times people, it's hard to get away from this. I know that sometimes, in some ways, I think some people think I'm too talkative, and so
oh man,
I'm sure people do. I mean, some people do make an effort to avoid me, which it's fine. I mean, I understand that. It's just like I avoid other people too. I mean, I don't want to. I avoid certain people that I don't want to talk to. I just kind of like say, hey, because in America we always say "What's up?" or "What's up?" or "What's up?" And in Taiwanese, people think that, oh, you're asking me what's up? Good. Well, I'm good. I'm like,
no. My question is like, what if someone keeps talking to you? How do you get out of it? Like,
well, it's just like what you just did. You just interrupted me. I mean,
sorry.
you could do the same thing. I mean, if it's okay. I'm just saying, if someone keeps talking, you can interrupt and say, "Hey, look, I'm actually I got something to do. I got classes, or I have to go get something, or something's going on." Just make up excuses, because I think that at the end of the day, people are not going to be offended if you just say, "Hey, excuse me, I'm 不好意思，我要做什么？做这个小事情啊 small thing, you know."
All right. Yeah, that is something we can all learn from. Yes, I'm kind of a guy who just sits there and listen. I can listen for a whole hour.
Well, I mean, if you could interrupt me right there, I'm sure you can interrupt the person you're listening to, right?
Yeah, well, we are different,
我们 Paul 哥应该也是一个 good listener 吧。
Yeah.
比较少会讲。
Wise to say.
对。
So, yeah, number 3.
So basically, what you're saying is, all the ladies out there, be sure to check out Paul Ge, because he's a good listener.
That's right. All right. Moving on to number 4. Number 3. Building each other up, like 提升彼此. So, 讯号. Sorry. Gosh. 美国大哥, just cut that off. 美国大哥, how can we build up? Do you build up your own colleagues, like people you work with? Like,
I think that's a hard question because it depends on who you work with. Who do you really want to work with? And I mean, for me, it's a different situation because for me, we work with a co-teacher, or what a lot of people call Chinese teacher, but it's actually a co-teacher. The truth is co-teacher, CT. And as a co-teacher, you have to understand what he or she is actually like, because the personality that sometimes doesn't match well. You end up fighting over something that is not. It's stupid.
yeah.
I mean, I have two coworkers who end up fighting each other all the time, and then
What do they fight about?
what's the
Like,
point?
what's up?
I don't want to give too much details, but they fight all the time over smallest little things, and I think that the cohesiveness, it doesn't work out well, and you end up having, who's hurting? Your students, the kids. The
Yeah.
kids are actually seeing this up front, like, wow, mommy and daddy are mad at each other. I'm like, come on. Some of these kids are already stressed out from at home. I know some kids have divorced parents, and it's sad that they have to go through this. And then they come to school, they see their teachers at each other, and they're like, I'm not comfortable at school, but I'm not comfortable at home. What am I supposed to do? I cry. I'll cry. I mean, I feel bad for them that have to go through this. And I think that that's a very important part, is cohesiveness, working together, building yourself each other up, depending on who you work with. And I mean, if you're working with just your boss, your direct boss is your direct supervisor, then yeah, do what you can to make sure he or she is happy. Build it up, the relationship where he or she is doing better. Because here's the funny part. A lot of people don't realize this. Most people like to bring their own people. So, if you do well with your supervisor and your supervisor does well because of you, if he or she goes to another company or gets promoted, he or she will bring you with them most of the time. Most of the time. So that's why you have to have a good relationship. Build it up with that person, regardless of what level you are. If you're at the supervisor level or you're just a coworker. You never know. Maybe your coworker might one day be very happy that you're working with them, and guess what? They find a new job or a new position somewhere, and guess what? They will get you. They will bring you in, and that's how you network.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So I'm asking, like, you personally, like, do you help them, like,
Yeah,
in some way?
that's the main reason. I
Yeah.
hope someday, if I find a new job or find a new friends or whatever, no matter what happens, this person is gonna help me in the future. And not because I'm very selfish.
Right.
It's not because I want something from this person, because I believe in karma. Karma, which in
I see.
my heart is, do good, and do good things will come to you.
Right.
Now, if you do bad, bad things will come to you. I mean, this is a little bit philosophical there, but that's the truth. I believe in that.
So for me, I do have like a different definition of building each other up. I would, like, if someone is feeling down, if I can see, I will go ahead and tell them, how you're doing. Is everything okay? And then they'll tell me their problems, and then I will listen to them, and then I'm a good listener. But I also help them figure out their problems, and I'll think about solutions for them. And
Yeah.
also, like, I would also share my resources, especially to newer teachers who are fresh into teaching. I would say, here are some things I can give you. I can give you my worksheets. I can give you my projects, so you can look at it, my PowerPoints.
Exactly. You
and
never
that'll help.
know.
Never know what.
Yeah. I say you never know when that's gonna reciprocate.
It will reciprocate,
Yeah.
like you said, karma.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You help him, and he helps you. Yes. All right. So yeah, that's a good point. Let's move on.
But just out of curiosity, I mean, this is I'm sure a lot of our listeners are kind of concerned about, is when is doing too much.
When you feel
In your case, because especially in your case, where you said that specifically, you said if I could help others, I can do this. I can show others a way to be better. And to a certain point, a lot of listeners will probably ask us and say, ask you specifically, will say, when do I stop? Because
When do you stop?
sometimes you're doing too much. Is it
Yeah.
worth it?
Oh, you're saying we are giving up a lot of your time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes, especially, it's a counterculture because in America, I don't fear that because we don't have this backstabbing craziness. But I feel like in Taiwanese workplaces, there's a lot of backstabbing. You don't know who your real friends are sometimes, and
Well, that's the problem with gossiping.
yeah, exactly. So I want to ask you specifically as Paul Ge, in your situation, how would you determine when to stop? When is your limit?
Stop helping.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's certain points where it is just stop. Don't need to do it anymore. Done.
Well, there's gonna be a point, where I'm too overloaded or over encumbered. Like I have too much on my plate. So of course, I have to think about my students first, my classes first. But if I do have the spare time, I can spare it. Yes. Because I believe, as our organization, we are a team. And the school is not run by one person, but by a whole group. So I think each person helps each other out. Like I have received help from the teachers who have been here, who are more seasoned and qualified. So I want to repay their kindness by giving it forward to the new blood, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay. So, but out of curiosity, have you, in your many years at a certain workplace, name this, have you been backstabbed before? Have you been in that situation that you've done so much for this person and this person just kind of throws you under the bus and says, this guy is not that good, and just makes up things?
That has never happened to me, but
Wow.
there has been
You're lucky then.
gossips about me, but it's not like what you're saying. It's not to the point of backstabbing, just gossips. But I think we have all been gossiped by, so I don't really take it too seriously. It's not not too serious. But I think, opening up a communication is very important. Like, I remember one time when my CT that I work with, like maybe she doesn't appreciate what I do in class. So she instead of telling me directly, she directly told her
The supervisor.
Our dean, our supervisor.
Yeah.
And the supervisor, I had to receive word from the supervisor about what's wrong, what's going on. And I take great offense to that because I feel this is very offensive to me that if she knows the problem, she should have brought it to me directly instead of, bringing it to the higher ups. I think we can avoid that kind of, how you say, we can avoid that because it's very,
it goes back to what we had a few episodes ago or whichever one we had. We talked about communication. Right. And communication, this is an indirect communication. It just destroys the relationship. I mean, you look at you destroyed the relationship with her. I mean, she did with you. Sorry, pardon me. So this is a little bit. I'm not destroyed. I'm saying damaged it. Sorry, damage would be a better word for it. But I'm just saying it sucks. Like how that is,
Yeah. So I went ahead and fixed it. I told her, hey. I need to see you after class. So in private. So I went to her classroom. Not after class. After school, after class. Okay. So I need some of your time. And I say, I know it was you that talked to the dean and then my supervisor. I say, I appreciate it if you can tell it to me in person. I know it's very, you want to save your face and you want to you're doing it to avoid what's that called? Embarrassment.
Yeah.
Awkwardness. I think
awkwardness. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. But next time, if you have any issues with me, I will be totally, all ears. I will not take offense if you tell me directly. Yes. So fixed it. Still friends. Yes.
Good.
Yeah. So
that's how you repair a relationship, right? A damaged one.
Yeah. It's how it should be. Like, especially a loved one. If you don't talk to each other about this problem, it's going to be,
exactly.
bad. Yeah. It's not gonna
Friends and love is all the same. I mean, relationships, it's very important in communication.
Yeah, because you need to make sure what you're thinking gets out there. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So the next step, which is all about, you have to manage your boundaries. When is too much? Like, Mary, 你有没有就是管理好你的界限 about, 工作跟私事 do you like have a good balance?
工作跟私事嘛？
Yes.
工作，你是说关于？
我说关于就是，你同事会不会太常找你？就是在工作外。
基本上我觉得我们行业比较少会有就是 after work 然后再出去 hang out 很少，因为我们其实我们的下班时间已经是7点了，所以7点过后，那你如果没有做完，你可能会到7点半或8点这样子，那其实你已经很累了，而且我们基本上是整天都在讲话，所以我们不太会有，我觉得其他公司也都是我们这一行，应该说这一行的其他公司也不太会有真的出去 hang out， 因为我们真的很忙，因为我们每天都在就是 message， 然后就是回答学生的任何问题，所以我觉得这部分在我们行业好像比较不会出现。
Okay.
对
That's good.
What about previous in the past? Have you in the past business workplaces have you had that situation?
You have to like talk to your colleagues after work.
Yeah.
Or bring the work home.
后诊的。
你说 bring the work at home 什么意思
？Because 就是你之前工作有没有需要，就是还是下班还是要继续跟你的同事或是上司相处之类的？
没有我们不用对，我们就是我们上司，我觉得应该是说我们真的是上司只有在 office， 可是过了 office 的时间，就是你自己跟面对学生的问题，就是完全不会有任何就是上司要叫你要做什么事情。因为我待的公司比较就是都是外国公司，我之前的公司在英国的公司，然后现在公司是老板是加拿大人，所以基本上他们就是公私分明，不太会有就是 after work 你还要再做什么事，都是纯粹就是我们自己。当然他也允许你说你工作过后你不需要再去碰。就是再去碰这些，是我们自己有一个 responsibility， 我们想要说，赶快尽快就是回答学生的任何问题这样子。对，基本上是我们个人的时间为主。对，
纯很好啊，不要出去啊。
对啊，就不太会有出去，我们很少，我觉得我们这行业层真的很少，因为这行业朋友不多。对，然后但是我以前做 hotel 就是算是秘书，董事长的秘书，所以董事长秘书我觉得就比较容易出现，就是跟董事长之后，你可能应该说你上班过后，你还有一些旅行社可能要去交际应酬，那你就必须要就是陪着就是总经理或副总他们去交际应酬，这样子就会真的是超过那个界限，但就没办法，你就是秘书，你就必须要做到，那是算是你的职责啊。当然你可以跟他讲说，你可以预先跟他讲说，我大概就是只能去30分钟，至少我有到，但我30分钟我就要离开了。对，我就要离开了。对，我就说我接下来我会提早先说。对，如果我提早知道，我就会提早先说，就说我大概我会去，不要说不卖面子给他，我卖了一个面子给你， 我去，我就是人多嘛，就是人多就会感觉比较热闹。那他们 hotel 跟旅行社这种东西就是需要热闹冲场面这样子。那只是去吃饭，然后都在聊一些屁话，我觉得。对，然后我就觉得，哎，30分钟，我又不是去那边吃东西的，所以我30分钟大概时间一到，我就跟老板 say 就说我先走了这样子，我就走了。对，当然也要碰到一个爱惜你的老板啦，应该这样说。所以我觉得我刚好我碰到的老板都对我还不错，就允许我就是时间到了，然后我就可以走人这样子。对
Very lucky.
That's great. Yeah. Well, we're going to work on the last point, which is to appreciate others. Do you appreciate, 美国大哥, do you appreciate your, colleagues? Do you tell them how much you appreciate them? Or do you show it?
Regards to all the jobs I had in my past, I definitely am a person that is very enthusiastic when it comes down to working with my people. People mean coworkers. I haven't been in a situation where it's very, I would say, very bad. I guess. But the only time I'm very annoyed is when I'm annoyed with my supervisors or directors or whatever. It's just managers in general. And managers above me, I never really mesh well. Maybe I have too much of an opinion for myself. But if you're talking about regards to everyone besides me, yeah, I'm very enthusiastic. I give them high fives. I'm happy. I tell them that, hey, good going, dude. It's awesome. And I mean, as a teacher, it's really hard to give other teachers high fives and say, hey, you're doing a good job. But in my past jobs, I have actually been in that situation where it's easier to, enjoy the job, enjoy the workplace.
Right.
But as a teacher, it's different because your workers are your students. It's a factory of education.
That's right.
So my coworkers, if you want to look at it that way, is I'm managing 20, workers at a factory. So these workers are loud, rambunctious, don't listen. So you have to give them high fives. You have to give them high fives.
They love them high five and kids.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, they're a little bit younger workers, but
Well,
I don't work at a stress factory. But I'm saying,
I noticed in it's good you point out that you treat the kids like people you work with, and for me, I want to say that appreciating others. I notice in Taiwanese culture that it's quite customary to bring gifts like snacks, to everyone. Yeah, 因为送点心啊，对。And I think that's a way you appreciate others by giving snacks. I would do that too, and as will all my colleagues. That's where I learned from. They usually when they go to other places and they come back with some special goodies. Yeah, 伴手礼.
Thanks for the tea yesterday since we're working together, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Mary, do you show your appreciation to your colleague or boss or?
会耶，我会经常，我蛮经常，因为其实我之前就是我刚刚有讲到，我之前要训练工读生。
对，
那工读生的话，基本上就是都大学生，所以他们都是进来实习而已。那基本上他们如果做得好，我当然都会就是买一些饮料啊，我也会就是谢谢他们，就是蛮辛苦的，因为我觉得多少要体谅他们辛苦，因为他们毕竟做我们的下线。那我们在急的时候，有时候我们声音可能会比较大声一点。对，然后就说，可以就或者是直接用就是命令的方式这样子，但是我觉得我知道这样子不好，但是我都会先跟他们，就是事后我都会跟他讲说，我刚刚就是因为可能在急或脑袋可能就又在同时想另外一件事情，所以我跟你讲话可能就没有那么的好听，或者是直接命令的这样口气可能对你不太好，那就是稍微去 after work 之后，你就稍微去讲一下，就敲一下 line， 然后就是时间有某一段时间，你可能就是稍微请客啊，大家一起 就是我会自掏腰包，我会请他们工读去，就是喝饮料这样子，大家讲一下工作。对，我觉得气氛很重要，所以我也希望说我们工作是长长久久的这样子。那也不像说他出去就是说，评论我不好这样。我也觉得我也不喜欢被评论说，我刚好碰到一个主管很差，我也不喜欢这样子啊。对，所以我觉得多少还是要体谅，因为毕竟他们也是实习嘛，那实习他们还在学习，所以我觉得包容还是蛮重要的。
对，你非常大的包容心啊 ，I can tell with your relationship
我包容很重要，对。
Great patience.
就是稍微要讲要骂还是该要骂，可是要夸奖还是要夸奖。我觉得就是这我觉得我自己拿捏还不错啦。对。
So I hope everybody has learned something from today's podcast about how to maintain a good and healthy work relationship. Yeah. So that is all for today, and I'm Holger, and this is
美国大哥啊。
This is
Mary.
I'm sure that it's all different on the feed, but
all right, take care.